Okay, guys. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another video of the Fan Chance, and this is our first video post Eid. And Ahmed, thank you so much for coming in and joining us. How are you, mate?
I'm fine. It's good to be back after an Eid vacations in Australia, and I'd like to thank all. I'd like to welcome all my football fans across Pakistan and Australia. And today, I think after the Eid, we had, I think, a good vacations regarding Eid ul-Fitr by Muslims, and I think it's time we discuss what's happening around in the football world. And let's see what kind of a rundown we have. So how are you, Mohsen?
I'm fine. Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you for asking. Had a very busy Eid. Yes, the holidays, you know, third day should have been off, but we're here to talk football. And like you said,
Yeah,
welcome to all the fans. If you're not watching us, do watch us. And if you are watching us, then guys, I don't think they have anything better to do than watch us, Ahmed.
yes, I think that's
So
what the royal fans are for. When you have nothing to
yeah,
watch, they
well,
watch us.
no, jokes apart, but I appreciate you taking our time. I always say this. I mean, our love for football. You know, you come online after your dinners and doing all your chores, and I'm here before my dinner, pre dinner ritual. Every week we meet up. So Ahmed,
Yeah,
let's get the
no
football
worries.
talking. So this was one of the games which took place yesterday. And there was a lot of hype and expectations that this was going to be a tracker game. But I've heard, I didn't see the game to be very honest, but I've everyone saying you did a good thing by not watching the game. So what happened?
Well, basically, it was a championship playoff between Brentford and Fulham. I think most of the pundit have declared Brentford as the clear winner, but because of their highly good attacking voice, their front three of Watkins and Benrahma and Mbupo was really they played really well in the championship. So I think people were hoping that Brentford would come up. Well, I think in first 90 minutes you can see that both of the team were afraid to attack. I think they were playing defensively quite well because both of the team like they were capitalizing on each other mistakes. So I think the real action began after the extra time. I think on 105 or 106, they had a free kick and Joel Bryan, who haven't scored all season with, or he had only one or two goals. He scored a lovely free kick and gave a lead to Fulham. After that, I think Fulham had a confidence of attacking, and Brentford were really struck by the free kick, and they were really confused. And I think they were playing at the back foot. They were playing a bit defensive. And after that, again, with the introduction of Mitrovic, I was surprised he didn't start this match. As you know, he was their in-form striker. But when Mitrovic came Fulham was much more mobile in their attack. And I think around 110 or 104, 114, Mitrovic played 1-2 with Joel Bryan, and I think Brentford defense was sleeping, and Joel Bryan scored again. And with that, it was confirmed for Fulham to go up to the Premier League. And I think after that, Brentford got a goal back, but I think it was too late. Like it was like they only had 3 minutes for equalizer, but I think Scott Parker Fulham was already booked for Premier League. So yeah, we will see Fulham once again in Premier League. So,
Will, will,
but
will, will, will they get relegated again? Because Shahid Khan, our own Pakistani American businessman, owns Fulham, but hasn't had luck since he's purchased Fulham. I mean, if I remember correctly, since
yeah,
he purchased Fulham, they've got relegated twice from the Premier League.
yeah, I think you can say that Fulham are experts when it's come to like playing playoffs and coming up and down. So yeah, I think most of the pundits and football fans have have declared them to be one of the teams to get relegated back to championship. But I think it's all depend on their recruitment. If
So,
last year they really recruited good players, but they don't have that, I think, gelling, or they didn't have any kind of a companionship between
yeah,
what kind of players
even
they
the
needed.
manager issue was there. I mean, they changed managers. They bought Ranieri, he failed, and they
Yeah,
changed managers. They bought 15 new players. They broke their own transfer record 3 times in the same window. So I think they didn't know what to do with the money. They had money, and they were just spending. And well, we wrote a blog on the fan stands yesterday where we mentioned that from our sources from Sky Sports and Deloitte that if you get promoted, you can earn up to 160 billion revenues for the next 3 years. So that is big money. But a lot of teams do not know how to spend money, especially when they get promoted. Like we've seen the same case of Aston Villa, they barely
yeah.
survived relegation on the very last day.
I think it's all depends. Like if you buy too many players, so it's very difficult for them to play together when they. So it's always good that you bought a couple of new players and have the old squad with them and gel them to have them together, like few matches together
Well,
for them to
Ahmed,
gel
I'm
together.
sorry for disrupting. There's a message off the air from our very own friend Babar, who's saying he's not happy that we're making fun of Mr. Shahid Khan. So we have an angry pro-American fan here.
Well, we are not making fun of Mr. Shahid Khan. I think Shahid Khan is have really invested in Fulham. Like I
Mhm.
think if like have you seen that Fulham have a habit of going up and down to getting relegated and going up. So if there was another owner who had thought that this investment wasn't good enough for him, but I think credit to Mr. Shahid Khan to sticking to Fulham after all these bad years. So
And
yeah,
one interesting thing, Scott Parker is the coach of Fulham, a former Chelsea midfielder. Yes, not a very big household name, but so we have a lot of former players becoming managers. So it's a very famous trend these days. What is your thought on this?
I think, yeah, it's becoming like you can see that Chelsea have preferred Mikel Arteta. I think Chelsea have Lampard now. Also, we heard the rumor of Barcelona selecting Javi Hernandez after Setien. So I think clubs are like focusing on the older players because they know how the system would run and when they were playing. So I think they would get much more familiarity against bringing a coach who have no idea how the culture of the club is, how the player plays, what kind of a
Mhm.
structure there is. So I think it's much more safer option for management nowadays to have a former player because they're familiar with the club history and everything. So yeah, I think it's a good trend
So,
and
so, well, I think you've managed to make him happy now.
yeah, no
Managed
worries.
to make him happy now. So Emma, sorry, I went a bit off topic there. The reason I spoke about players becoming manager is because I wanted to talk about this, something we were
Yeah,
busy with because of Eid festivities. So FA Cup final, two young managers going against each other, Arteta versus Frank Lampard. Both teams have struggled. I mean, not struggled. In fact, I mean Arsenal struggled. Chelsea has done really well. So,
yeah.
can you sum up the final? Your thoughts, your feedback. I mean, your thoughts from
Yeah,
the final on Saturday.
yeah, it was like a really good final, but I think it was shadowed by a few controversial, I think, decisions from the referee. Like you can see that from the Kovacic yellow card, the second yellow card, it was like it wasn't a tackle from Granit Xhaka. Instead, Granit Xhaka tackled him, but I think referee didn't show that. Also, I think
Hmm.
Martinez handball issue has been shown around, but you can see that on the BBC they showed that when he caught the ball, the line was on the line. The ball was on the line, so it was considered safe for the. I mean, overall, I think Chelsea played really well in the first 10 minutes, but I think after that. They were on the back foot. I think Arsenal shifted from the defensive defensive tactics to an attacking tactics, and as you know, Aubameyang has been on quite some good form as playing as a winger, and I think he strike again. Also, you can see that there is a kind of a defensive issues with Chelsea, with Zuma and Rudiger wasn't performing quite well, and also you can see that Abzelaqueta was I think mistaken for the first goal as he pushed Aubameyang to the ground. After that, I think a few injuries to Pulisic and I think to other players and unavailability of other players. I think so. It made Frank Lampard's job difficult. But still, credit to Frank Lampard that he still reached a final, and congratulations to Mikel Arteta. I think Arsenal fans will be really happy with the progression he has shown to the club, and I think he have shown that he is the right manager for them to lead them towards promised land after Arsenal Wenger. But I think he needs a few recruitments. I think in defensive, like I think William Saliba will be coming from Saint Etienne, completing his loan deal, and I think they might need another. I think they need to offset Ozil. I think he has to go and offset his 3,500
350,000
yeah, sorry, 350,000 deal per week wages, and I think recruit someone
staggering.
really good.
Staggering. Ahmed, the problem is I spoke to a few Arsenal fans about this a couple of
Yeah.
weeks ago, and the problem is no one wants to buy Ozil, no one wants to buy. They feel he's outdated, and
Okay.
he's a traditional number 10, and a lot of managers are not using traditional number 10 now. And plus,
Yeah. No.
I'm not sure about how authentic this is, but a Turkish fellow football fan told me that he was linked with Besiktas, but the problem is that they can only pay him 100 or 120 per week, euros per week, not 300 plus. This is the main problem. So, what can the club do in these situations? I mean, don't you think they should at least pay him games rather than just pay him money? Because there's an unfortunate breaking news today that they've laid off a few workers because of the COVID financial situations, and some people are complaining that their workers, you should take look after them. You're feeding someone like Mesut Ozil on the bench who's earning for not doing nothing.
Well, I think it's kind of fortunate for all the staff that has been fired, and I think as a management, you should look at the priorities of your club. If there is a guy who's sitting and not playing and just having his wages week in week out, then I think there's something wrong about it. But I don't know why. Like even when Unai Emery was a manager, he wouldn't motivate Ozil to play so much. And even Arteta, like even under Arteta, like Ozil, even didn't play. He's not on the sub. Like at least utilize your. Is one of the really good players of Ozil. I think when they had Alexis Sanchez and Ozil, I think they were the best two players. I think you
They
should
were.
utilize Ozil instead of just paying him his wages of for doing nothing. I think Arteta either it's better for Arteta to offload him or either to play him at least like in a CM position. Like if he can't play a traditional 10, I think force him to play a similar in a midfield deeper role. So I think they can get something out of him.
Yeah, you're right. I absolutely agree with you. And I think Arteta has done well. I've been an advocate and supporting Arteta for a long time. I think the board needs to back him. If you
Yeah.
see, he had tactically outclassed Lampard. I mean, yes, if Pulisic did not get injured, yes, you might have seen something different there. But, credit to Arteta where it is due. And, Ahmed, we need to talk about one player who's been absolutely amazing for Arsenal since he's joined, and that is Aubameyang. What do you have to say about him?
Well, Aubameyang, I think, is a really amazing player. Even I think when he started, I think he has been underappreciated for very few, for where he has been played. Like when he was playing under Klopp. He wasn't fully utilized because he would play as a winger. And then I think one off to a game match when I think Klopp didn't have his main striker. He played Aubameyang as a striker, and then he really utilized Aubameyang as striker after. I think unfortunately for Klopp, I think he had his worst season in Dortmund that year. So he after that he left. I think under Tuchel, Aubameyang really shined, and like he scored around more than 20 goals, and he was I think competing with Lewandowski with a golden boot, and I think he won a couple of them. When Arsenal, I think. When Arsenal took Aubameyang, I think more for around 30 to 40 million, it was a really good buy for them because they needed a striker. And with Lacazette, I think they had a really good partnership. But I think, yeah, I think in the start of the season, I think Aubameyang was a bit slower playing. I think as a striker, he was a bit confused. He wasn't getting his goal. But I think under Arteta, I think Arteta has defined him as his role, like you have to play a uh, left winger, and I think he's shining in this role with Lacazette as a striker and Nicolas Pepe, and now here I think he was really so close to winning the Golden Boot as well. I think he just one goal shy from winning Golden Boot with Jamie Vardy on 23, and he was on 22. So yeah, it was like he's a really good player, and I think some pundit also said that he is right now top five strikers for them, even though he's playing
Yes,
on the
yes,
right wing,
arguably. I mean, he
left
fits
wing.
at Liverpool. He fits at Barcelona. Would love to have him. There were
Yeah,
rumors, and if Arsenal, I think he might stay because Arsenal has managed to qualify for Europe through the FA Cup. Yes, it's not the Champions League. Although I would love to see someone like Aubameyang play in the Champions League against the big boys, but if he's showing his loyalty, then why not? And he's earning very good at Arsenal. So he has fancy cars. If you
yeah,
follow him on Instagram, he has a lot of fancy. He owns a lot of fancy stuff.
yeah. Also, so I think Arteta need to sort his contract out really soon. So I think he was a bit hesitant because if Arsenal wouldn't qualify for Europa sport, I think he would have gone. But I
He
think
would have
after
left.
playing,
He would have left. He wouldn't have stayed there. I don't think. So
mm,
Ahmed, talking about money, I think we're done. We'll come back if
yeah,
there's anything we'd like to add from Arsenal. If you have any questions, talk about money now. A friend of mine loves to talk about money, and I'm sure you know him. So he's not a Newcastle fan, but
yeah,
Newcastle fans are asking what happened to the Saudi takeover. The last 17 weeks, Ahmed, we made a video on the fan stands. Unfortunately, you weren't part of it during
yeah,
Ramzan, before Ramzan, in fact. We had Mohammed Ali as well from another channel, Keep It Score. So we spoke about this. We said Newcastle is going to become the richest club in the Premier League if that this takeover would have taken place, the Saudi Consortium, I mean, it is directly owned by the kingdom. Okay, this is
yeah,
an entire country buying a football club in the north of England. And the Reuben brothers were also involved, Amanda Staveley, and PIF Group was also in the deal. If this had taken place, if this was successful, so Newcastle would have become 15 times richer than Man City and 30 times
yeah.
richer than Chelsea. And the fans were really excited. They were dreaming about big players, big name managers coming in. So, Ahmed, what happened?
I think problem with this takeover is that it is associated with not only like a investment group, it was associated with a country. Like Mohammed bin Salman, he was the main investor for the this group, and is now the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. I think for Premier League, for this to evaluate whether this deal goes or not, I think they look at the background of Saudi Arabia. Like you can see that they have kind of human right issues. It all relate to the Khashoggi case, where there was a journalist, a Saudi American journalist, who came to Saudi embassy in Turkey to get his, I think, marriage certificate, and he was killed there and dismembered there. So I think there was also like a human rights issue, like how they have like a slave. The Premier League have been shown through BN Sports, but
Mm-hmm.
BN Sport is banned in Saudi, so they have an alternative of B Out Q. So B Out Q is like you can see that is invested or backed by Saudi Prince. So when the EPL, I think all the they were when they were investigating for the 17 weeks. I think they said that it's not possible. Also, like if this deal goes around, I think it would have been very much difficult for the other
controversial.
Premier League team. It would have
Yeah,
been controversial.
I
Like
think
they would,
they would have raised. Oh, sorry, I'm just interrupting Ahmed. My apologies there. But you're
yeah, no
right.
worries.
And when you talk about B out too, the name is also very suspicious. B in
Yeah,
sports, B out, and there's a Q there. There's some
yeah,
political problems there with the country of origin of B in sports. But the
yeah,
problem is again, they say B out sports is also owned or run indirectly by someone from the Saudi government. So it's like I think the problem of the entire country. But a little twist in the topic, though. Do you think this might affect the relationships of if they wanted, they could have exerted some pressure politically on this because Saudi has. But Ahmed, the thing is, Newcastle fans, I spoke to a few on some other forums. They said
okay,
when countries like Saudi, XYZ, they've invested in the UK and other businesses. We talk about UFC, we talk about
yeah,
WWE, and we talk about other businesses. I mean, Saudi also has invested in Sheffield United, I believe, and
yeah.
other small investments in other things. So there's no issue there. But is it because the government was involved in this one that is why it was so sensitive?
Yeah, I think the investment and the government involvement is too much. Like even if, you know how much we criticize Man City on their like how much wealth they have and how they
Mm.
avoided FFP just few days for around their case. So they would have been like if Newcastle was inherited by the PIP, they would have been become much more richer than I think Manchester City 15 times, as you have already told us. So I think they would have caused problem because they would have easily buy the players. They have no problem paying over wages. Like you can say that they can easily have bought Sancho if they had the money. Like they have buy it for 150 million easily with kind of investment there. So I think
Yeah.
APL made their decision that I think this kind of investment is not fair to other EPL teams. Also, I have heard the rumors. It's true or not, but I think Liverpool and Spurs management also interfered in this deal. But I don't know. There is some rumors lying. I don't know if it's true or not, but
Could
it's
be,
kind
could
of
be,
a
could be. I'm sure there must be a board sitting, and they must have not liked the idea of having this kind of a
yeah.
deal taking place because this had some political controversies attached to it. The fans are not happy, and there are a lot of things. I mean, they were doing about big players. There were a lot of memes and jokes going on that Mbappe like adores Newcastle, wants to play at Newcastle. Dybala feels and Dybala Rugani they feel that Newcastle is just like
Yeah,
Juventus. It's also a club in the north, so the
yeah.
jersey is almost same. So why not go there and talk about jerseys? I need to ask. I need to see if I can cancel my Newcastle jersey. I don't want to pay for it now.
Oh, oh, damn it! I was looking forward to that as well. Well,
Yeah, I would
you
have
can
worn it.
always have a
Worn it on my show. I would have worn it on my show, but I'm wearing my Nike Jordans, you know, from my training.
well,
So that's it. The Ahmed, the fans aren't happy. They're
no.
chanting, things of corruption. What happens now? Amanda Staveley said that even if they give us they get back to us, and we're still interested, we can buy this. We can start the takeover again and complete it within 3 days. But what happens? So Mike actually stays on, and Newcastle fans are really depressed because the club is going nowhere under Ashley. What is next? What do you feel? I know you're not a Newcastle fan, but what do you think will happen now? Will we see another owner coming in? Because Ashley's been trying to sell the club for the last 2 years, and for some reason he's unsuccessful. What do you think will happen now?
Yeah, I think the Newcastle owners, Mike, actually really need to sell the club because the Newcastle fans are not happy with him. They're really tired of all the investment he has been done, and they were like Yeah, every year they're fighting relegation and avoiding it by the neck scratch of the neck. Like they always around, they come around 14 to 15. Even though
Mhm.
Benitez is a really good coach, I don't think so. He can keep them around for too long because you can't play defensive football every year in and out unless you're Tony Pulis or
Yeah,
Diego
but
Simeone.
and the problem is they have Steve Bruce and the fans saying yes, he's done well, but the football's awful. I mean, on one day you can only win 1-0 by just scoring right at the end and get dominated by the opponent team. And sometimes, very rarely, you might come out with a 3-0, 4-1 win. But on most cases, you're expected to lose, whether it's home or away.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, I think
this and Steve
yeah.
Bruce would have got unlimited doner kebabs and shawarmas if he was still the Newcastle manager with the Arab takeover.
Yeah, I think he wouldn't have. I think they would have gone for Pochettino. So, as you know, he's a much more caliber manager. I think Steve Bruce wouldn't have been the manager if because they would have so the owners would have preferred someone who was a bit of caliber and who was available. I think Steve Bruce, I think, might have just avoid getting fired from his job right now.
Yeah, he has because I don't see anyone coming to Newcastle if Ashley will not support the owners. And Ahmed, now talking about the owners, uh, what has
So,
happened here now? Now
oh,
this is where you're an expert.
yeah,
You're an Inter fan, okay?
yeah, through
You're
and
the
through.
Desi, Kuwaiti, Pakistani, Australian marcotti, whichever country you want to associate yourself with. A lot of people say he's an AC Milan fan, but he denies it. He's anti-Inter, but we know you're pro-Inter, and you're often
Yeah,
neutral. You're anti-Juventus. I have to admit that. But I mean,
yeah,
what has
sure.
happened? I don't understand. You finished okay. Juventus won the league easily. On the points table, it shows you were second and only lost by 1 point. This was the weakest Juventus side. We've discussed them a lot of times, but why is he angry? I mean, he should be happy. I being a neutral, for someone who watches Serie A, so I expect Conte can win the league in the next season or so. Why is he frustrated? What has happened? Because he's done this previously at Juventus. He's done this
Yeah.
in the Italy national team, even at Chelsea, and now he's again going on a rant at Inter. So, can you explain to us what has happened? Because there are a lot of questions and answers over here.
Well, most probably, I think main problem for Conte is that during I think lost to Bologna and a couple of bad matches where they lost to a really poor teams or mid-tier teams. I think Conte complained and when the Italian media was uh, puking shit on them. No, the board and the management didn't protect him or the players. So yeah, he said that we were vulnerable. Italian media really pushed them back. I think they were really harsh on them. They really printed harsh words on them. And Conte was like, "I am doing the best I can with the players I got." Even though Steve Zhang he gave a really good like he bought in Lukaku. I think we have Sanchez, then we have in January we had Christian Eriksen, and we have a couple of good players with us. And I think as an Inter fan, I'm really happy. Like if we didn't have couple of bad matches, we would have win this Scudetto because even I think Maurizio Sarri with Juventus they really had poor season. So I think the problem with Conte is that I think wherever he goes, he's a bit of unhappy, and he always leaves this trail of unhappiness. And also this time he's leaving his trail like he couldn't meet Steve Zhang because he was in China.
Emmett, don't you think this is wrong timing? I mean, you have a Europa League match. Who are the opponents for Inter? And
It's
it's
good.
very bad timing. I mean, you still have a chance to win something. A European trophy, yes, not the Champions League, not as elusive as that tournament but competition, but something is there, and you have a decent team. Inter, along with Manchester United, are favorites to win, and I'm looking forward for an Inter United game in the next round or so. So bad timing.
Yeah, it's a really bad timing. Like I think we have a game today with Getafe. I hope we won,
Oh
but
yes,
I
get tough.
think
I remember.
yeah, I
Tough game.
hope
It's going to
we
be tough. It's going to be tough. Getafe is
Yeah,
a
it's
good
gonna
team.
be, but it's gonna take. But I think with this kind of a disruption he caused in the boardroom as well, I think you can say that Inter will back him. Inter board will back him because we already sacked Luciano Spalletti, and we are still paying his, I think, his wages. So I
Contract
think
money,
Inter
yeah.
can't, yeah, contract money.
But
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 I think,
but Ahmed, I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but you know what Conte said, very alarming, that Juventus is very different on and off the field, and no other clubs can match and compete with Juventus. He even said that the problems identified with Spalletti back in 2017 are still there. Nothing has been done about it, and Inter Milan are still lagging behind. Now we're not again, like I've said, more questions and answers. We're not sure what he's talking about. Steve Zhang will not be happy. He also said that the problem is the owners in China. Now, obviously, the owner will be in his home country because there's an ongoing pandemic right now.
yeah,
You
yeah, I
can't
know.
expect him to travel to Italy because Italy was the epicenter in Europe uh, during the pandemic. I mean, it was one of the hardest hit countries in the continent and the world at that time. So I mean, do you think the owners will, evaluate him, his performance, of how he does in the Europa League, and make a decision? Because Inter has had a very bad history of not keeping coaches for a long term. And sorry, I'm keeping this long, but if if uh, if they decide to part ways with Conte, because there's news that Allegri could be an option. So where can Conte go now if he continues to create this problem for his club with the board, and this disrupts the morale of the players? Then I mean, what's the future for him?
Well, coming to what he talked about Juventus, when he was at Juventus, he said that Juventus, half of the Juventus transfer were on free transfers. So he said that being a Juventus coach is like eating in a very expensive Italian restaurant, but only have 10 euros. It's like he was saying that they didn't have much budget for good players, so they were relying on free transfers. So when now he just came now, when he's Inter, you know that Juventus have really pushing their transfer budgets now with signing Cristiano Ronaldo, Gonzalo Higuain, and Dybala, and other players like they also had now they have signed Kulusevski and Bernardeschi and with Delete as well. They signed a
Mm.
bunch of players. So Conte problem is that he isn't getting the players he needs with the Inter. I think even though he's asking for all the Premier League players, they gave him like he wanted Lukaku. He need a striker. They gave him Lukaku. He requested Victor Moses, who played really well with him under in the Chelsea shirt. They gave him. They also gave him a number 10 because we lacked a proper number 10 because either Borja Valero played there and Brozovic played there, but not both of them are not number 10. They play like a central. They play more central. Yeah. So they even gave him Christian Eriksen, and I think they also Godin. But I think the problem with Conte is that he's never satisfied where he been coaching. He has always has a problem. Like you said that he had a problem and he was in Juventus. He had play a problem in an Italian team. He also had player with Chelsea. So I think Inter board will judge his performances after the I think Europa League. I hope he really does well. Inter really does in Europa League, and we are really looking to win our
So,
like trophy after 10 years
well,
because after
I wish you good luck for that. Yes, you haven't won a trophy for 10 years. It's been a
yeah.
very big drought for a decade. I mean, since Mourinho left, Inter has been struggling. But one last question about this: would you be okay if Conte was sacked, if Conte left, and you brought in Allegri?
Well, I think I don't want to start the process again because Inter always under a new manager and management he will bring his new players. It's gonna take some time to get used to it because I think we don't have a bad season. Like it was Conte's one first season with Inter and he performed really well. Like he lost with 1 point only So I think it's a really good season. As an Inter fan, I'm really happy with losing just 1 point because most like people are saying that Juventus were favored to win, but we challenged them to second place.
Absolutely.
Even like in like last few matches, we played really well. So I think if Allegri came, it's gonna be a hit and miss once again because Allegri will bring his own players. He won't adjust to the players we already have. So it's gonna take time, and I think I already said that Inter won't sack another manager because either because they have to pay their I think the contract money they like split they're paying for Spletti, so it's gonna be either Conte quits because he already quit, I think, in Chelsea or in Juventus. Either he quits, or either I think he has to man up and suck up and take this Inter team to the glory. And also he does. He chose the latter option.
Well, let's hope he does. He remains wise. So we talk about board money, and this leads us to another very important thing. The transfer window has been opened, so there are a lot of
Yeah,
players on the move, and there are some clubs who are actually spending a lot, and there's some clubs who are not spending. I mean, Liverpool, for example. I think Klopp. He's not saying anything, but I'm sure his inner Conte is very quiet at the moment. So, Ahmed, what is
yeah.
the latest on the transfer rumors? What is the biggest news going on right now? And I'll start with one. Sancho to United. We thought it was done and dusted. It was going to be announced later yesterday night or maybe today, but there's another twist that nothing. There's no progression. Can you update me on this and confirm what is the news?
Well, according to Fabio Di Marzio, he's saying that there has been an advance stock of 90 million and 90 million upfront and paying 20 million plus 30 millions in two installments in next 2 years. So it's around 150 million contract. I think Inter is a bit. Oh, sorry, Manchester United has been a bit hesitant because it's a lot of money, and with COVID also looming around, the economy also have been hit too high. But I think Vasquez is not budging with the 150 release clause of the Sancho. So I think the contract talks is going on, but I think in 3 or 4 days we will see a confirmed news of Jordan Sancho going to Manchester United. So
I
yeah,
feel Jadon Sancho. I feel Jadon Sancho will go. Dortmund is trying to rush in. They're giving a
yeah,
deadline of the 10th of August. They're saying we want to finalize this deal so that the player is focused for the next season. He can train, and I know he's going to go because Dortmund cannot keep their players. I'm telling you this
yeah, I
right
know.
now. This is going to be the last. I mean, the next on the move from Dortmund will most probably be Erling Haaland soon. I mean, yes,
Yeah, I know.
nothing for him now, but I mean, I'm sure in the winter or next summer he'll be on the move. So I know Dortmund, they see money, and Watzke is a very smart businessman. He knows when to sell, but I think he's just trying to play a hard ball with Manchester United. So
Yeah,
I
I
do
know.
feel this is going to be a move. And do you think United does United needs Jadon Sancho? Because the money they're talking is absolutely insane in this COVID, where clubs like Liverpool are saying that we need to curb our expenses. We cannot even afford. We're just thinking of how we're going to fund for a 30 million transfer for Thiago Alcantara. But on the other hand, you see Manchester United talking about 90 million pound move with a few add-ons, so the deal could go to I think 115, 120 million, and 300 to 340, 50,000 a week for a
Yeah.
20, 21-year-old young English player. So I mean, Ahmed, what is your take on that?
Well, he really performed well in his Dortmund. I think he scored 20 goals and assisted 19. And I think you can see that from the on the left, right hand side, they need a player because I think Dan James after the COVID reset,
Restart.
he hasn't been performing. Yeah, COVID restart, he hasn't been performing really well. He hasn't been performing. He had some few good, but he wasn't doing so well. So Mason Greenwood was playing instead of him. But Mason, even though he played really well, I think in last few matches he really contributed to goals and assists. But I think United really need a settled player, and I think with Jadon Sancho already contributing around 39 to 40 goals, I think they would have a really good player, and I think with Anthony Martial and as a striker, as a number nine, and Rashford at the left wing, I think they will make a really deadly combo. And it's not something
They
as
will, but they're also. I think they also need to move in for to improve their defense. Do you feel? Because they're very focused on the attack.
Yeah, I think with Chris Smalling also coming in, I think they're gonna experiment with him. Either they will play Maguire with him, or I think they will give a Lindelof a chance, because after the Jadon Sancho transfer, I don't think so Manchester United will go for another player, because they were gonna exceed their budget. Like they're already
Mm.
spending 150 million on it. I think if they go for an expensive centre back, it will cost them around 50 to 80 million.
Agree, understandable. And who else is on the move? I think Hoijberg has joined Spurs from Southampton. Are you surprised with
Yeah,
this move?
yeah, it's quite surprising. Like I think not too much, because Mourinho really needed midfielders, and has been really performing well for Southampton. Like you can see that yeah, Mourinho have Harry Winks and Dombele, and I think Musa Sissoko and Eric Dyer. I think you can see that Dombele didn't play under Mourinho, and he was criticized for being a bit lazy, and so he didn't play. Harry Winks, you can see that Harry Winks has a tendency of playing backward passes and sideways, so he's not not a really good. And I think that they are
I
left with
mean,
Eric Dyer.
I think I understand. You mean to say he doesn't have the impact, and Eric Dyer on
Yeah,
defense we've seen is not the best. So there's rumor that they might try to swap Ndombele with Milan Skriniar from Inter Milan. Is this
no,
true? Are you aware of this rumor?
yeah, yeah, I heard of this rumor, and it really angers me as an Inter fan, because Milan Skriniar, even though he didn't have a really good season, he's still a good defender, and I think Conte will go on a rant if we sell Milan Skriniar, because we don't have really good centre backs. We have Godin, we have 34-year-old Godin, and then we have Ranocchia, who hasn't been who has couple of good games, but he is not a really reliable centre back. Then we have De Vrij, so only De Vrij and Milan Skriniar and Bastoni, we have three centre backs. So yeah, it's gonna be. I think as an Inter fan, I really be pissed if they gave Ndombele for Milan Skriniar. I would prefer the cash for Ndombele.
Okay, so I think Ndombele might be a good fit for Inter Milan. Do you feel?
Yeah, I think we need a CDM. We a defensive midfielder. We lack a defensive midfielder. I think Stefano Sensi has been a really good player, but I think he has an injury problem. Also, Barella, I know he's a defensive midfielder, but he likes to go forward. So he's more of a CM to camp, the number 10. So yeah, we lack a proper CDM. So I think if the Inter goes for Ndombele, I think it's gonna be a good signing.
Okay, noted. So Ahmed, who else is on the move? What is Liverpool up to? And yeah, what is Liverpool up to? I mean, the still the Champions League holders. Still, we have new winners this season, and the
Yeah,
current Premier League holders they've been awfully quiet.
yeah, I think I don't know why FSG is not investing in the players, because all the teams around them, even Manchester United have invested, and United have invested on Spurs, and Chelsea and Arsenal all gonna invest in new players. But I think most of the rumor mill is regarding Thiago. It's a bit confusing that Thiago wants to move there, but FSG is not willing to pay the 30 million transfer fees for him. Also, I
Mm-hmm.
think Jamal Lewis is rumored to be the second backup for Andy Robinson, and he's available for around 10 million, around 20 million by I think by the Norwich, but I think that there has been a rumor that Liverpool might use Yasser Larouci as a deal
Yeah,
sweetener. So they
deals, yeah, as a deal, and Assia Mandi from Betis, I think, and
yeah,
Chilean
but
defender also linked with Liverpool.
so yeah, he also linked as a fourth centre back, and I think his evaluation is around 12 million. And he's quite versatile. He can play centre back, left back, right back. So I think it's gonna be good sign.
That
And
is
I
nice.
think under
I think that is nice. I think that suits Liverpool. I mean, he
yeah,
versatile. What about Ben White? Is he also is the rumors that Liverpool want him as well, or do you think
I,
that's off for now?
I think there is a rumor coming that Liverpool are really interested in Ben White, but the problem is that Liverpool can't give him a starting position. But I think Leeds United can is playing regularly for Leeds United, and also Brighton is have evaluated him around to 50 to 60 million. So I think with Leeds United already coming up on the Premier League, they really need a good defense. So I think Marcelo Bielsa will won't let go Ben White. So
Okay, and the champions Man City. I mean, 40 odd plus for Nathan Ake and 23 million for Ferran Torres, and they've said that they try to go for more.
I think for Ferran Torres, I think it's a really good transfer by Manchester City. I think they really replace. You can like the pundit have said that he's like a young David Silva. I think Valencia really lost their academy child is Valencia through and through, but I think they couldn't keep to afford him because his contract was running and he didn't want to renew it because all the problems going in the Valencia board right now. So I think City was really good to pound on this deal around 27 million. I think they really replaced David Silva. His gameplay, like the most people define, is like David Silva. Like he plays on the wing as well. He plays wide, but his main is playing centrally. So I think it's a really good transfer. As for Nathan Ake, I think they overpaid a bit, like a 41 million. I think it's a good transfer. I think he's a really
But I feel City should have gone for a bigger name. I mean, why not Koulibaly? You have the money, and they've said they're going to sign more players now. So they should have
yeah,
gone. I mean, Ferran Torres to 23 million is a very good amount. I've seen him
yeah.
play. And Valencia, yes, they're in a financial mess. They're going to sell around 8 players. So we've seen one of them go. They still have very good talented players up for grabs.
So yeah, I think they should have gone for Koulibaly, but I think De Laurentiis wouldn't have let it go for easily because he also is a shrewd businessman, and I think he would ask around 80 to 90 million for Koulibaly, and I think Manchester United didn't want to risk another heavy invested signing because even though he's good, but he has a bit of off season for Napoli, and I think under Gattuso, I think he wouldn't let him go too easily because I think under Gattuso, Napoli is really performing, and they wouldn't let it go too easily.
To talk about Napoli, moving a bit away from Premier League, they've signed Victor Osimhen for I think he's one of the expensive African players now.
Yeah, Victor Osimhen. Yeah, you can say that. I think it's like the detail of the deal hasn't gone through. Like it's 50 million plus a goalkeeper and three more players. So it's around 80 million. So like the valuation is a bit strange. Like they bought him for 50 million, then they gave like four players to Lille, three academic players and one goalkeeper. So that makes his evaluation around 81 million. So most expensive African player. I think he's a good player, a good striker. He's been involved with Lille in their attacking wise. I think after losing Nicolas Pepe last year, I think Victor Osimhen has really contributed to their attack, and I think I think Lille can replace their attacking option, and they're also getting a good
Yeah,
goalkeeper.
yeah,
And let's see if
I mean,
Ahmed,
Lille produces good players. I mean, look, they've got Hazard, they've got Pepe.
yeah,
I'm just saying the big names for now. I mean, and look now. I mean, Victor Osimhen. So these clubs, I mean, they make good business and they keep on producing these young kids who are sold for a very good amount of money. But the thing is,
yeah,
with these hefty big prices comes big responsibilities and expectations. So I wish Osimhen all the best. Yes, he's very young. So let's hope he strives under Gattuso. Ahmed, I'm drifting a bit away from the Premier League and I'll move to the other leagues as well. With Osimhen coming to Napoli, there's also rumor that Ardouis Milik, the Polish striker who's been absent this season, I mean, is not performing too well. He started
yeah.
off really strongly a couple of years ago. He's rumored to join Juventus, and either him or it could be Raul Jimenez, who would rather join Juventus rather than Manchester United. So, which of the two will join
I think
Juventus?
Milik has much better chance of joining because he's now redundant now for Napoli. I think they have with Dries Mertens playing as number 9, and also now Victor Osimhen coming. I think Milik he wasn't performing good for Napoli. He has been injured. He has ACL injury, and he was like off. He was injured for a year, and after also coming after a year, he hasn't been performing too well. So I think Juventus can take Milik and replace him with Gonzalo Higuain, who are around 34, 33 to 34 years old now. And yeah, I think it will give them Juventus a new attacking talent. But I don't know.
And But what about La Liga clubs? Real Barcelona really quiet till now. Are they waiting for the Champions League? Are they just focused on the Champions League for now? They don't want to be involved in this thing in the public.
Yeah, I think I think they're waiting for the Champions League to be over. Then they'll decide what kind of a position they're required for the transfer. I think Barcelona most probably gonna see what kind of center back they will get, and there are also rumors of selling players. So yeah, I think it's all depends after the Champions League outcome. Also, I think Real Madrid player Kubo has been
Hmm.
can rumored to
Like,
be for a transfer. So let's see if he agrees
he's
to a
wanted.
transfer.
He's wanted, but Real, I don't think would they want to sell. They don't want to sell Odegaard either. I think they just want to give them on loan. And these are two talents. I want them to play regular football for the parent club. But let's see what
Yeah.
happens. So Barcelona is also quiet, and Real Madrid so far they have been quiet. And any other movement in the Premier League or any other transfer rumors, any other manager moving here and there, which we have missed out.
Well, so far it has been quiet. I think after a week, I think we might see some
Oh,
action
there's
going on.
there's
So
there's one I want to talk about. Sorry, and just a small bandit here. Uh, Chelsea's retirement home, Arsenal, with over 30-year-old players. Willian is I was joking there. Willian is rumored to join Arsenal because he wanted a 3-year contract. Chelsea only wants to give him a 2-year contract. Usually, they only give max 1-year contract to players over 30. That is their policy. So it was a no win-win situation for both.
yeah,
And Arsenal's happy to have him. They want experience. So, what do you make of this news?
I think it's a good move on a free transfer because I think with Willian, you don't know what kind of a Willian you're getting. Either you're getting a prime Ronaldinho or
I
really a
remember. I remember. I mean, against Spurs in both games. I mean, he became
yeah.
a Ronaldinho on the right wing for Chelsea.
So I think with Willian, I think you might get a few 3 to 5 good games from him, and on a free transfer, I think that's not a bad option. But I think most probably Nicolas Pepe will play on the right wing, and he most probably is a sub, or I think will play a
Hmm.
off game
Yeah,
where I think Nicolas
he will
Pepe,
be he will be a sub because he's very different from Pepe. I mean, if you talk about Pepe and Ziyech, these are two
yeah,
players who play with their left foot on the opposite flank of the foot. I mean, they both play on the right. They love to dribble, pass, and cut and shoot or take a pass.
yeah,
Willian is more like a winger who likes to dribble and just give in crosses. He does score at times, but not as much as I think the amount of goals Pepe and Ziyech can offer, once they've become accustomed to settle down in the Premier League. Ahmed, three, four players. I mean, yes, they're not on the move, but I'd like to ask. I mean, your feedback. I know you might not have a definite answer. Number one, Upamecano. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. He's signed a contract with Leipzig. He's not going anywhere now, right?
Yeah, no, he's not going. Yeah, I think he signed his contract from 2023. I think he's staying for I think 1 or 2 season, unless I think some big club give his. I think Arsenal was after him, but I think after the contract, I think his clause has been really high. I think Arsenal really have to pay a huge money to get him now.
And what about Thomas Partey, 25 million man? Is he coming to Arsenal? Very quiet here now.
Yeah, I think the rumor was that for Thomas Partey, Arsenal was offering 25 plus Matthew Guendouzi. So I think Diego Simeone like no, I don't. It's not a good deal for me because
And
Thomas
for
Partey for I
Atletico,
think he's really a good player. So I think 25
okay.
million was quite less for him.
So I'm going to talk about three players. Ahmed, why aren't they on the move? I mean, yes, we've heard very weak rumors. Malang Sarr, I hope I've got the name right again. Uh, Benrima from Brentford, and third Ismail Sarr. I mean, Ismail Sarr. Why aren't these three players being considered by big clubs as cheaper options, alternatives?
I think with Ismail Assar, I think Liverpool is looking to bolster them, but I think the problem is you know how good Ismail Assar is. So the problem is that if these big teams can offer them a first team position, or either they're happy with a sub because Liverpool and Liverpool, Manchester United, City, they all have their established front three. So all the players coming in either has to be a sub or have to play an off game or in a cup game. So it's gonna be difficult for the players as well. It's also like for the Jamal Lewis. Klopp has said that he can come if he can be the second deputy
Second choice
to
on the
Andy
bench.
Robertson. So yeah, I think even though we have a good talent pool, but the problem is that the player with these kind of talents, they want regular football, they want starting position, and they only get starting position in lower mid-table teams or in a relegation teams. So yeah, so for the big club, either you have to be really good talent to become a regular starter, or either you pray that one of your teammates are injured and you play regularly. Then
Yeah,
so
or
yes,
maybe you get an odd game and impress the manager. I mean,
yeah,
I think same has happened with Emiliano Martinez. Leno's got
yeah,
injured. He's taken the chances very well. I mean, that gives a headache. And by the way, I uploaded a video on the fan channel. Martinez
yeah,
sent a message of appreciation to one of my friend, an Arsenal fan
yeah. I've
from
seen that.
Malaysia.
It's a very good
So I
video.
mean,
It's a
that's
really
a
good.
wonderful gesture from a player, a very short video, but it matters a lot. So Martinez, I know you're not going to. I hope there's a miracle you watch this video, but thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm happy. My friend was really happy. So Ahmed,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Two more players also. I just want to end this video. Your opinion. James Rodriguez wants. Oh, sorry, three players. Phil Coutinho, James Rodriguez, and Jack Grealish. All three are looking for a move, but there's nothing solid at the moment. So, do you see them moving to any big clubs in the Premier
Yeah,
League?
yeah. I think they will move to a good club. I think for Philip Coutinho, I heard that Arsenal in them. Also for James Rodriguez, I heard that Atletico Madrid might take him for around 25 million to 30 million. And as for Grealish, you know that Spurs were interested in him and also Manchester United. But I don't think so Manchester United will be after him because they can't give him a starting position right now. But I think for Spurs, I think he can play. But I think Aston Villa, I think, will be asking too much, around 60 to 80 million for him because he is their
Too much.
main player.
I think that is too much. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that is too much. I'll come up with the video. I think English players are good, but I think they're overvalued. I mean, Ben Chilwell 80 million,
Yeah,
Grealish 80 million. I mean, that is insane. Yes, I know the market's inflated, but no, I think it's insane. And on a quick note, I'd just like to say, I mean, Chelsea, I think they need to invest on the defense as well. Chilwell news, I don't know why is Lampard persistent. You can also look for Tagliafico from Ajax, who's 20, 25,
yeah,
30 million max. They can also consider him. And I don't know what's going to happen about the centre back and goalkeeping options. And frustrating for Jurgen Klopp as well. I mean, if you can't pay 30 million for Alcantara, which is again a strange transfer, yes.
yeah.
I mean, they need to sign a few players. I'm surprised no one has gone for other players from Norwich, Bournemouth, and I think Aston Villa and a few more clubs. So let's see what happens. There also was a rumor that Saint Maximin was wanted by, I don't remember, Spurs or someone else. So let's see
Yeah.
how this suffices. And Ahmed, will thank you so much for your time again. Uh,
No
Another
worries.
long video, an hour, but I really enjoyed the transfer part. So the
Yeah.
Champions League is going to start. We have Europa League starting in an hour, in a few hours.
Yeah.
So we'll have you again. We had a lot of complaints that we will just be making fewer videos. We were making 2-3 videos a week, and we limited ourselves to just one because of time constraints and the Eid ul Adha festivities. So Ahmed we hope you can come on the show regularly and discuss as the Champions League games take place. And guys, soon we'll be shifting our attention from European football to football elsewhere as well.
Yeah.
We hope we can talk more about Pakistan football. There's not much happening, unfortunately, because of the COVID situation, and we'll have more guests representing other clubs. So, Ahmed, thank you so much for your time. Stay blessed, stay safe, and is there
No
anything you'd
worries.
like to say before we finish?
Yeah, it's always been a pleasure coming on this channel and discussing football with you. And yeah, hopefully we can hear more about the Pakistani football progression and all. Also, I think we all know that there was a Lebanon, there were bomb blasts in Beirut,
Hmm.
Lebanon. So all our prayers goes to the people affected, to the people of Beirut. All the people of the world are with you in these hard times.
Well, Ahmed, can you, very difficult thing, it's random, can you say something in Arabic for the Lebanese viewers? If you can. If you can't, no problem. I mean, some message. I know you're
Yeah,
shaky, you've been in Australia for quite a long time. But you can think about it if not, no problem. But yes, we have some fans from Lebanon, and I have a few friends from Lebanon. So my condolences to all the people who've lost their life. Guys, please stay safe, and we're all with you. Our prayers are with you. That is the best we can do, and if we can do anything, we'll try our best. So, Ahmed, thank you so much for coming in, and guys, do like and subscribe to the channel.
sure.
We're almost about to reach 2,000 followers, 2,000 likes. Yes, that is not a very big deal. I mean, the channel with millions of likes and followers, but for us, it's a very big thing
Yeah,
because I think uh, we're just learning for now. So we're just still a young channel. It's been almost a year, but Emma, thank you so much for coming in. And guys,
no worries.
okay, guys. So
Good.
hopefully, we'll have more people on the show and more questions and more views definitely. So Emma, thank you so much. Take care.
Thank
Thank you
you
for
much.
providing your
Yeah.
insights for the topic.
Yeah.
Take care, Emma.
Have a good
Love
one.
this.
Have a good day.
You too, mate. Love this.